Hello everyone, this is Carlos Peña from English Literature for semester 2016. Today I am going to talk about a very important issue in the use of drama in the EFL classrooms. This is the second part of the text, which is called Exploring the Story. So, exploring the story helps the students to increase or to encourage the use of their imagination and their creativity. Also, it is done or it has place with the use of the multiple intelligences of the students in a structured way. Um, so this, in other words, this analyzing the I mean the yes the parts of the story helps the teacher to make the class more attractive to the students. So okay, exploring the story has four main issues or concepts which we can use in order to make some activities in our classes. The first one is sounds, which basically is the use of the sounds to give life to the story. The second one, the second one is the objects. So we can find that the objects could be characters or could be important in the development of the story. The third one is the characters. So the characters is a very important point because um, yes, it talks or it is about the characters or the persons or the animals, the objects that could develop develop the story. And finally, the scenes. So with the scenes, we can like establish some scripts for the students to work the pronunciation, the oral skills, and so on. So let's talk about the sounds. So sounds in a story could be actual sounds or narrative expressions. So actual sounds could be, for example, the intonation of the voice of a specific character. So, for example, if a little character talks, we can set or we can change our voice in order to give like life, yes, to that character. So, for example, figure out a little ant talking like this and a big elephant talking like this. So that is the difference between the voices. We can work with that. So applying this to the classroom, we can work in a funny way with children, like yes, making a story more real. The second one is called the narrative expressions. So, for example, it is when a narrator is telling the story and says, for example, the people said, "Oh," and that's narrative expression. Adding sound effects to our story is a simple way to, as I said before, to give life to the story, to make it more real, more believable, and it helps or it gives a response to the images, the pictures that we are or the movements that we are looking at. Also, it gives a meaning to the lines of the story. So it is important to use sounds. I want to mention something that that called my attention, that it is very curious for me. I used to believe that movies were done, were recorded, just recording with some cameras and microphones the scenes, but I realized that not. Movies are made with sound effects every time. So, for example, we can in a movie we can see the video showing a person wearing putting on their clothes with some sounds, but the sounds are done like behind the scenes. Also, for example, we can see some movies in which there is a horse running over around, and I realized that the sounds of the running of the horse is made by some Foley artists behind the scenes. So, for example, the Foley artists are, they make the sounds with some common materials, with some regular or yes, common materials like such, for example, I don't know, a pen or a notebook or materials that we cannot imagine that they could sound like we are like the things that we are watching in the video. So Foley could be very useful in the use of drama, because for example the students could I don't know, for example two students could be acting something and other students could be making the sounds behind them. So it's a good tool. So let's continue with objects. Objects, for example, many or most of the stories have objects which are main characters or which have an important role in the story. So, for example, there is one story which is mentioned in the text, which is Aladdin and the lamp. So here the lamp is a character, an important character, because it helps to develop and to develop the plot of the story. So objects are important. Also, for example, objects could help to develop the story in the way that, for example, there was a wood maker with his axe, and they can, for example, the students can mimic the object. Like, for example, I am breaking some wood sticks with my axe. So the axe. Yes, they can be mimicked by the students. Let's continue with characters. Characters is one of the most important, because without characters a story could not be developed. So characters are important in the use of drama, because students could explore, or they can explore, the characters' actions. What the characters do or don't do, their voices. As I said at the beginning of this presentation, we can analyze if their voice is like big or small, the way they walk. So, for example, if the giant is walking slowly with giant or with huge steps, or for example an ant is running or walking with little steps, their thoughts and feelings. So, for example, we can have the bad character and the hero, or the shy character, or the brave character. We can analyze it and we can apply depending or according to the student's personality. Could be used. Um, their past experiences also, in many stories the past is very important, so we can analyze what they have done before and so on. The scenes, this part is mentioned in the text in order to work with the students in the classroom. So for example, scenes help to break down the story into more manageable parts. So for example, we can divide the story, make the scenes, make the setting, the script, and work with little parts of the story in order to foster the students to speak, or to speak in front of a public, and to catch their attention. So it is not necessary to work with the whole story, but we can use little parts. Also, scenes can be explored through meme and dialogues. So we can use, or we can as teachers make the students to use their gestures, their corporal movements. To also is important, and I consider the most important is to encourage them to speak, to have a dialogue between them. Could be an improvisation depending on the level of the English level of the students, or could be following the script of a scene taken from a story, but they can interact between them using the foreign languages, in this case English. So scenes are very important, and the text mentions some activities that could be done with the scenes. So it is time for me to give an example with a real tale. We can use Jack and the Beanstalk. So, for example, first of all, the sounds. We can use the sounds. In order to the students make those sounds. So, for example, they could make the sound of a creaking castle door. So, like opening the door very slowly. Giant's feet. So, for example, the giant steps of the giant. Like. Like, for example, the giant eating, like very aggressive sound of the giant. Let's figure out a giant eating. How could it be? So for him, for example, hen clucking. For example, when Jack enters into the giant's castle, and the hen starts to cluck. For example, the feet running when Jack is running fast in order to escape from the giants. The beanstalk, and the giant falling when he falls. I don't know. The students could explore their imagination in order to make those sounds. Then, so for example, the teacher could read the story in real time, and the students could make the sounds uh, like at the same time. I mean, when the teacher is telling the story, the tale. Then let's use the objects. So, for example, the beans, which are very important in the development of this story. So the beans we can like mimic like little beans. The cow, like the plate, the giant. So it is a very big plate, so we can like make the mimic of the plate, like with a spoon. The food, like for example a piece of bread, like I don't know, making the mimic very exaggerated. The bag of gold, so for example we can make the mimic of the bag. Yes, for example, as I said before, the axe, or the harp, like playing the harp. Those could be the objects. They could be done with mimics. It could be, I mean, easier. Then the characters. So, for example, in this tale, Jack and the Beanstalk, the main character is Jack. Another important character is Jack's mother, because without his mother, he wouldn't go to the street to, I don't know, to get the beans. The old man who gave him the beans, the giant. So for example, we can use our corporal expressions in order to represent a giant and the giant's wife. Yeah. So for example, also we can use mimics or movements in order to represent the actions of the characters. So for example, how the giant can walk, like slowly and with big steps. The scenes. So for example, we can choose one scene in order to work with the students. Let's think about the problem of the story, which was when Jack goes to the castle and the giant is sleeping, and he like steals the hen and the harp and the gold. This scene is a little scene, but could be represented by the students in an easy way. So that's all. I hope it is clear. Do not hesitate in writing me by email if there is any suggestion or comment. Thank you and goodbye.